Good afternoon and welcome back to Asgard and welcome to the second episode of our Hermitpack modded Minecraft Let's Play series. So since last episode I've done a bit of mining and I waited to mine these up. I found two veins of diamonds and so I wanted to show you guys. I did finally come across some. Oh, there's iron back here actually. So let me go ahead and mine this. I'm going to go over to the other deposit of diamonds just really quick and then we'll head back to the base. Alright, and our next batch is right down here. So, well, one diamond. Never mind. That really wasn't a very good haul, to say the least. But that's okay. Oh, hey, buddy. But anyways, I'll meet you guys over at the base in just a minute. And we'll continue what we were doing. Alright, so for starters, I did go ahead and I finished filling out that field that's out there. With canola, and I did a bit of sorting. Oh, by the way, I was brought to my attention, I totally forgot about it. The one probe is how you get your tooltip. I wasn't even thinking about it. I set it to not needed, so you don't have to actually have the item. And if you hold down to crouch, you can see like the contents of the inventories and stuff like that, which is always really nice. Now, depending on how you set the probe, you can make it require the item and so on, but I just hate having to carry something extra with me. So, I went ahead and just set it to not needed. And then over here, I did sort through, and I've been processing a lot of the ores and stuff that we've got with our measly little ore processing system. And so we've got a bit of stuff built up. And I also have a canola farm set up back here. So, I have been harvesting it. I haven't lately, but you'll notice we have 556 canola and 127 seeds built up in these drawers at the moment. And I did a bit of mining and exploring and all that good stuff. Well, you can't see it here, but yeah, see, I started exploring over in this direction. I was trying to get an idea of what I want to build on this pack, and I haven't quite come up with anything just yet. So, and I'm kind of holding off. I've got to talk to Sheridan. I might start playing on the Voxel server. So if I do change this over to a server, basically I'll get it caught up over the weekend or something like that. And because we're not too terribly far in, and it wouldn't be too much of an issue to get everything caught back up and all that good stuff. So we'll see how it goes. I definitely wouldn't mind another server play to replace all the mod server play, but like I said, we'll see. So anyways, today I want to work on really expanding what we did last episode, because last episode was really getting started. It was a really rough and dirty power system and ore doubling system. You know, it's not it's not something that I look at and I say, okay, that's a good one. So we're going to work on power a bit. Basically just setting this up so that the whole fermenting process and oil generator is all automated. Ore processing will be automated. We'll probably go ahead and upgrade to the double crusher and maybe 2 powered furnaces. Because keep in mind that like this is a perfect setup for keeping up, because the crusher is going to break one down into 2 and then the powered furnace is going to cook 2. So it works out really well. Plus you do have a chance for byproducts with the crusher as well. So. And then I also want to get just like some basic power storage and some of that in place. Basically just start getting an infrastructure this episode. So the first thing that I want to do is I want to get some power storage and some power cables. Now actually Additions does have its own power transfer system. It doesn't actually have any power storage, which I'm hoping that they eventually add that, because I would like to see some power storage with this mod. But it does have its own power transfer with these energy laser relays. However, I'm not going to go with these simply because they do have a loss whenever they transfer from one relay to the next. So I tend to like using cables or something that doesn't have that loss over, you know, a distance and everything. So I do believe, I was debating between Mechanism for our energy storage and stuff, or Ender IO. I do believe that we'll probably go Ender IO. And of course that's mainly due to the fact that Ender IO isn't going to take like a major infrastructure, because we do have a lot to cover this episode. So let's go ahead. All I want really is just a capacitor bank. It doesn't have to be anything too spiffy at the moment. So I wouldn't mind just having maybe 2 capacitor banks. I would be happy with that. So we have a little bit of storage, and that way if we need some portable power, we do have access to, we can snag one bank without it messing up the system, which would definitely be in our favor with some of the stuff that's going to be coming up and whatnot. So let's go ahead. Very easy to craft these two. They don't take much at all, really. So there's our two basic capacitor banks. And then the next thing that I'm going to want is some energy cables. So to do that, we're going to need to get ourselves an alloy smelter. So let's go ahead and snag one of those. Of course, it's nothing too major. I know I've already got furnaces because I disassembled all those furnaces that we did have. So we are set on those. There's that. There's that. And then we need a cauldron. And I'm actually going to go ahead and make 2 of these cauldrons. And I'm going to want a couple pressure plates, because there's one other thing that I do want, and that is a drum, just for some liquid storage. So we'll have a little bit of energy storage, a little bit of liquid storage. So we're on our way to a fairly decent infrastructure, I feel like. It's nothing to write home about, but it is something that, we can kind of fall back on and whatnot. And once we get all this automated, it's going to be wonderful. Of course, that's what we're going to be doing this episode. So let's go ahead and get ourselves some iron and redstone cooking up to make our conductive iron. Okay, I forgot to set it to alloys first, so I did get a little bit of refined iron. That's fine. Not too concerned about that. So anyway, we've got that smelting up, and then I'm also going to want some conduit binder. So let's go ahead and snag that. This stuff is really the same as it was as far as the recipe goes. We're going to need some sand and gravel. And by the way, these actually additions things will automatically output. So we can just put our iron drum right next to that, and it's going to output the oil from the fermenter straight into the drum, which is absolutely wonderful. That's one of my favorite features, is it doesn't require wires and all that to move this stuff around. So our conduit binder's done, and our first 3 redstone alloy or conductive iron is done. So let's go ahead, we'll get our cables, and let's get ready to move this. And I think this has plenty of power, so I'm going to go ahead and pick this up. And we're going to set our oil generator, I'm thinking, like right here. And then what we'll probably do is bring the fluid along the back long term. Right now I can just have the fluid pumped directly into the oil generator. Alright, and our drum is going to need to pump out with conduits. So we're just going to set it right here. And then we'll go ahead and set up our capacitor banks just right next to this oil generator. Something like that. You'll notice that it does drain all the power out of there. Without needing to connect with conduit, which is great. That's how we want it. And then I'm just going to attach a conduit line right there, and we're just going to bring this along the back side here. And so the next thing that I want to do is I want to set up our fermenting barrel, and we're just going to put this right next to the drum. Of course, this doesn't require any power, so that's not a problem. But you'll notice it's going to automatically output to the drum. And then let's go ahead and grab our canola press. It does keep the liquid, however it does drop the canola. That's not a problem. And we'll just set that right there. You'll notice it drains all the oil out. It goes into the fermenting barrel. And from there, of course, it goes into this drum. So we've got like a little system here. We just need to plug in the drum into our oil generator. So to get our fluid conduits, we're going to need quite clear glass, which if you haven't played 1.10, quite clear glass, you can't make it just by doing sand in the alloy smelter. You actually have to cook glass again. So now that we've got that, we'll just make ourselves a few fluid conduits, and then let's go ahead and get just a bit more energy conduits, because we're going to need it by the end of the episode. We may even need more. I'm not for sure. We'll see. But then we'll just bring this out. We'll say extract always active, and there we go. It's filling this up with oil, and it's going to start filling this basic capacitor bank, which is then going to feed back over into our canola press. We may not actually need that one. I may have been wrong. I will probably add more canola presses and more fermenting barrels and all of that good stuff. And the next block that I'm going to want is a farmer from Actually Additions. So we're going to need, it's actually a little bit expensive. You are going to need 4 Inori crystal blocks, which of course are just iron blocks. But that's not a problem. We've got those materials, so that's not a concern. And another thing to note is that this atomic reconstructor can do solid blocks. So basically, by the way, the atomic deconstructor, or reconstructor, sorry, it's going to basically shoot out its burst, and wherever it hits, it's going to be like a 3x3. So you can do, you know, item drops in the area around like a wall or something in a 3x3. Basically any physical item that it hits is going to be where it ends. It does have a certain range. I want to say it's like 10 blocks or something like that, where it'll eventually just burst on its own due to the distance. But anyway, that's going to get us our farmer, and this thing basically works a lot like the Mine Factory Reloaded harvesters, except that it also plants items in addition to harvesting. So what it's going to do is it's going to harvest anything in a 9x9 area in front of it, and then it's going to replant those items. So if we were to take and throw in, say, some canola seeds, they go on the left hand side. The right hand side is going to be for the output. So now what we need to do is let's bring some power over here, and there we go. You'll notice it's breaking through the items, and it's collecting a bunch of canola seeds and all that good stuff. It's going to go through and it's going to break everything first, and then it's going to go through and replant it. So you'll notice it's using up a decent amount of power right now. It's nothing too crazy, nothing that we can't handle, because it's not going to be breaking and harvesting and all that stuff all the time. So now it's going through and it's replanting. Now you will note that it's not going to automatically put the canola seeds back into its input. That is one downside to it, in my opinion. But what we can do is we can make ourselves some item conduits. Now, as it stands right now, we don't have any ender pearls, so I'm just going to go with just some normal transfer nodes. Let me cook up a little bit of stone here. And so let's go ahead and get our transfer pipes. And these do craft 64 at a time now, which is absolutely wonderful. It does make life so much easier. And then we can get our transfer nodes, and these craft 4 at a time, and they're cheaper. So I will say they're not quite as powerful as they used to be, but they're still fairly decent. And what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and pull out the back of this. You'll notice it's getting some canola right now. And then let's go ahead and just bring this up like that. And I need a wrench, actually. For right now, we're just going to go with the extra utilities wrench, I think. I will take it. So to do that, you're going to need some red dye. Just like that. And what I want to do is I just want to go ahead and remove this connection. I hate the way these want to connect into like every pipe they find. So I just want to break that off. And so now it's going to automatically output anything that it gets, and it's going to send it into these drawers. And we don't have to worry about those filtering those, because, you know, they're drawers. They can only accept one thing. And now what I want to do is, before I connect that up, let me go ahead and get a key so that we can lock our drawers. So these are fairly cheap to make. I am going to need... I've already got gold. Okay. Never mind. And so basically we can just surround any drawer with sticks, get our upgrade templates, and then, you know what? I know I have a gold nugget. Yeah. Thought so. We'll go ahead and use this loose one. And just like that, gets us our drawer key. By the way, I did get 3 red orchid seeds. I found one that was planted down underground when I was mining, and broke it and got 3 seeds out of it. So very nice. That will definitely come in handy in the very near future. And of course, we can right click to lock these, and that way, even if everything in them gets pulled out, it's not going to empty out the drawer. It's still going to say, like, you can only accept canola seeds and so on. And so what I want to do is I want to run some cabling down like that. And let's go ahead and break this connection. We don't want that. And we'll just plug it into here. So this is going to pull the canola seeds back out, and it's going to put them into the seed buffer here. And so basically it just kind of circulates the items around. And once this gets backed up, all the canola seeds will get backed up in this drawer. So it's going to work out perfectly for us. And so now what we need to do is we actually need to get these canola seeds over to here. Honestly, I could have laid this out a little bit better looking back, but that's fine. I'm not too worried about that, because transfer pipes are honestly super cheap. And so what we'll do is we'll just pull out of the bottom of this, and Let's go ahead and break that off. And then what I want to do is go ahead and come down 2 levels. And we'll just bring this around. Now keep in mind these aren't the fastest as far as transfer unless you put speed upgrades in them, which speed upgrades do require GP now, so we're not going to be able to do that right off the bat. But that's fine. I mean, it's not like this thing is going to be just constantly eating canola. Generally by the time that this gets to find the press, it's going to have a decent amount of canola built up in there. And so, yeah, see, it just bumped it up to 26. And so what's going to happen is it's going to actually get enough in there. It's not going to fill up, so it's really not an issue that it's slow for us right now. And so basically what's going to happen is the canola is going to get cycled through the system. It's going to keep filling up this drum, and that's going to keep this oil generator running and filling up the capacitor. And eventually you'll notice that we're coming out positive on power now. It's the farm and the whole setup is using less power than what we're producing, and we can add additional canola presses, fermenting barrels, oil generators, and so on to speed this whole process up, which we will be doing that just to make it so that we're producing more power at a quicker rate and everything. And there we go. I was able to really quickly and easily upgrade this system. Now, I found that I don't actually need, well, no, never mind. I do need that fermenting barrel. It's catching up. It just took it a little while to get all caught up, I guess. But it seems like you can use 3 fermenting barrels for 2 canola presses. And that seems to do the trick. Why is this not getting in? Oh, you know why? Forgot I was messing with this whole thing earlier and messed it up. So now that one should be running again and producing our canola oil. And actually, it looks like maybe 2 fermenting barrels per, I think, would probably be what it'll be with it running, maybe even more. But you'll notice that we're shooting up in oil, and we've got both of these running now, and we're getting, a decent amount of RF. It does use a little bit when the farm starts breaking and doing things, but altogether we're getting 140 RF per tick. So of course it is using a little bit on these canola presses, but nothing too major. And considering this is all like its own thing, we don't have to touch this anymore. This is producing power, and we can keep scaling it if we wanted to. If we wanted to expand this room out and add more canola presses, fermenting barrels, oil generators, and all that good stuff. I will probably end up adding a third oil generator in here, so we've got at least 210 RF a tick to start with. But for now, I'm pretty happy with this, and we're coming out very positive on oil, like very positive. And keep in mind, eventually this is going to fill up, so this whole system will back up, and the canola presses won't even be running anymore. And then eventually the farming, or the farmer is going to back up, and all that good stuff. So, but it is going through canola fairly fast, but we'll end up speeding this farm up down the road once we get a little bit farther into actually additions. And so now let's go ahead and automate our ore processing. So what I think we're going to do is we're just going to put a chest like right here, I think. And then we're going to put our crusher, which we may end up, like I said, upgrading this to a double crusher and having 2 furnaces over here. It's very possible, but we'll see. So what we're going to do is we're going to put in a transfer node here, transfer pipe here, and then we need to run some power over to this. Alright, so we'll just bring our power down along through here. And I don't really need that connection, so we'll go ahead and disable that. And we'll do something like this. I'm not going to worry too much about the floor, that's fine. And then we'll just bring this over like a couple more. And so now if we throw in, say, the, whoops, clear that out. If we throw in like a piece of this bauxite, it's going to get pulled into the crusher, it's going to get crushed down. And then what we're going to do is let's go ahead and put a buffer right here. And we'll go ahead and break this off. I know it's kind of in the corner and it's not the nicest looking thing, but whatever. This is just temporary, keep that in mind. And we'll go ahead and set down our powered furnace right here in this corner. So we'll put it like right there. And then let me get some more transfer nodes actually. So we're going to put our transfer nodes right there. connect it there, and I want to go ahead and smack that stuff off. And we'll go ahead and turn sorting on. And then what I want to do is set another transfer node on this chest with a pipe coming out like that. And then lastly, we'll put another transfer node right here with a pipe coming out like that. And so that's going to move the ores out. So if we, for example, we threw a bauxite into here, it's going to go in here and it's going to get crushed up. And then that aluminum is going to get sent down and get smelted. And then the outcome, there it goes. Goes right into the chest. But we're going to take it a step further because I don't like using wooden chests for an ore processing area. Because if you're like me, if you do very much mining at all, you're going to quickly find that this chest will get so filled with just crap. I mean, I didn't even have an ore processing system, so I wasn't doing a ton of mining, and I already got this much stuff in here. So what I want to do is just really, really quickly, I know the episode's running a little bit long, but I want to go ahead and get into RF tools just a little bit. And to get into RF tools, I am going to have to go get some obsidian, because we're going to have to run into the nether just really, really briefly. It's really just we're going to step in there, grab like a couple pieces of nether quartz, and come back out. So I'm going to run down, I'm going to mine up some obsidian, and I'll be right back. Alright, so let's go ahead and get our flint and steel. And we'll go set up our obsidian portal. Let me get a few pieces of cobble just so I have something to build corners and all that stuff with. I'm not going to worry about dumping my inventory. Like I said, we're only going to be there for a few minutes. Alright, so now we're ready to go. That canola farm is just, I don't know. I'm just going to leave it. I don't know why I built one out here. I have no clue, honestly, what I was thinking. Oh, I almost stepped off into that. I hate when it puts me right on the edge like that. Alright, so we've got blazes everywhere. Everywhere. Oh, there is nether ores, though, it looks like. I like that. Because, oh, it's from Cyclic. Okay. I don't think I've ever messed with that mod, so I'm very, very curious. I was thinking it was like nether ores. We do have some nether lapis. I'm going to go ahead and snag this stuff, though. Because once we start getting into tinkers, I want it for fortune. Oh, it actually doesn't drop a nether version of the ore, though, which is interesting. Alright, so anyway, we're pretty well done here. Like I said, okay, I don't know what that lag was, but I don't even want to try to fight that because it totally messes me up when it does that. So anyway, we'll just head on back. And by the way, let's go ahead and lock it into hard mode, because this is a new feature for like post 1.7, I guess. Basically, it locks the difficulty so we can't change it or anything like that. I like having it locked personally. Alright, so now that we've got our nether quartz, let's go ahead and get ourselves a machine frame. I may be low on iron. I've got a little bit. I'm actually getting low on iron, which is not good. Let me go ahead and... I do have like one piece here that I can run through. We used a lot of iron this episode, though. And so let's go ahead and get our machine frame. And then I want to get our modular storage. And this block is absolutely wonderful. We're going to need to make a storage module. So we're going to have to work our way up. And I don't think... Okay, it only requires one piece of iron, so that's great. And now we can get our tier 3. And the way this works is the tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, basically each new tier holds 100 additional stacks. So right now with a tier 3 we can hold 300 stacks of items. And so what I want to do is, we don't have a dolly, do we? I know we have the wands, which we'll get into those later once I have some blaze rods. Okay, so I'm just gonna break this. I don't care. We'll do that. And we'll set down our modular storage, and then we can put our storage module into here, just like that. And now this thing can accept up to 300 stacks of items. So it's a lot better than having, you know, a chest. For one, it takes up less space, and then in addition, it does hold a lot more items, and it'll work perfectly with all of our item conduits and stuff. Now, I will say that this pack does not have applied energistics. I was actually looking through earlier. Applied energistics is one of those things I always just assume it's in the pack. And so whenever I saw that, I was like, oh, wow, okay. But that's fine, because we're going to go full refined storage. And we're probably going to do so fairly soon, if I'm being totally honest with you guys. Because I want to go ahead and get some kind of storage and auto crafting and auto processing and all that good stuff in. You know, set up and everything fairly quickly for us. So now it's going to break this stuff down into dust. It's going to send it through. It's going to smelt it. And then if we take a look in here, we can see there goes copper ingots rising. So very, very nice. And it's, you know, it's semi-automated and everything. And this can be searched, so we could say we just want copper. Thanks. And so on. And if we search any eye, oh, okay. If we click here, it searches here. It doesn't actually let us search any eye over here. And then you can also craft in here. So if I wanted to, I could say like that. And you can say craft 1, 8, so on. Craft a stack of these, etc. So very, very handy to have. And you can also set up recipes here to have them auto stored. You can have up to 6 different recipes. And there's also some more slots for other things. There's a lot that these modular storage blocks can do. There's stuff for like dimension dimlets. You can add on additional accessibility for the dimension dimlets and different things like that. So but anyways, I am going to end the episode there. I'm trying to keep the episodes around 20 minutes, but I know especially when we first start out, there's a lot I want to get into to basically get the world set up and get our infrastructure started and everything. So I do apologize that the last episode was running a bit long, and I do believe after I edit this one will probably be running long as well. So I do apologize about that. Anyways, I hope you guys are enjoying the series. Like I said, the next episode for this will be out on Saturday. So do stay tuned for that. And as always, I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, be sure and hit that like button and go ahead and subscribe if you're not already for more daily videos. And I do feel like things are coming together in here. It's a lot of little stuff we got set up this episode. So, but yeah. So, anyways, I hope you guys join me for next time. And until then, as always, do take care, stay safe, and I will see you next time.